The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content.
Hi, I'm Cindy Williams, and welcome to Parenting in the 90s. Preparing a child for the future is one of the greatest responsibilities a parent has. There are so many things that need to be taken care of, some more obvious than others, but all are very important. It's always so difficult to stand by helplessly as your children struggle with breathing problems due to a cold. Did you know that children through the age of 4 catch up to 10 colds a year? It seems like they're always fighting one off or just getting over one. We may not be able to cure them, but if we understand colds and how they're spread, you may limit the number your children catch.
A cold is considered an upper respiratory infection. We all know the common symptoms: sneezing, watery eyes, a scratchy throat, coughing, headaches, decreased appetite, and crankiness. Dr. Jonathan Rubin will explain about the causes.
Colds are caused by a variety of viral infections. As many as 200 viruses exist. Viruses are microscopic particles which can be as small as 1/1000th of an inch in diameter. When viruses enter the body, they infect the mucous membrane lining of the nose, the throat, and the lungs. This results in increased mucus production.
Every time you get a cold, your body builds up an immunity to that virus. But because there are so many different types, a child's body has not been able to build up as many immunities as adults. That's why children tend to catch more colds. Colds are primarily spread in 2 ways, through either direct or indirect contact. An example of direct contact is when a child takes your hand after sneezing or coughing. If you happen to rub your eyes or nose, you may transmit the virus yourself. That's known as self-inoculation. And indirect contact is when someone with a cold transmits the virus onto a surface or object, like a door handle or toy, and an uninfected person handles it. Fact is, common respiratory viruses can actually stay on these kinds of surfaces for hours. If you're feeling even more overwhelmed about how easily colds are spread, don't worry. There are simple preventative measures we can carry out and enforce among our children. As simple as it is, and as often as we hear it, washing your hands and your children's hands with soap and water is an important and effective way to prevent a cold from spreading. Okay, here we go. Good. Make sure daycare providers do this too. Use disposable tissues and quickly throw them away. Remind children as often as necessary to keep their hands away from their faces, not to put fingers in the nose, and to cover their mouth when sneezing or coughing. Keep rooms properly ventilated and check that daycare providers take all of the same precautionary measures. Reduce contamination by disinfecting regularly those obvious places and objects in your home, like telephone and faucet handles, countertops, doorknobs, really any hard surfaces that are handled often, especially by children. Most of us are all too familiar with the term 24-hour flu. It might come as a surprise to you that there is no such thing. Parents or children who suffer from a day-long bout of nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, or fever are most likely suffering from something far more common, foodborne illness. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 97% of these illnesses could be prevented. Some methods of prevention seem obvious. One good way is washing your hands with hot soapy water before, during, and after preparing food. Let's look into some other important preventive measures. This illness was once referred to as food poisoning and is commonly caused by a combination of bacteria naturally present in our environment. Mistakes in handling foods are the main reasons for foodborne illnesses resulting from food contamination. Ironically, these are also the simplest types of illnesses to prevent. Shoppers, beware. Buy meats and seafood from reputable suppliers and do not purchase food that has expired its sell-by and use-by dates. Although dating products is not a federal requirement, it is a useful guideline, not a guarantee. Be sure that those marked keep refrigerated are cold to touch, and the frozen products are just that, frozen solid. When shopping, it's best to store uncooked poultry, meat, or fish in separate plastic bags in case of leaks. If your meat and poultry section does not have bags available, obtain them in the produce area first. When you need to thaw meat, place in the refrigerator on a plate. Allow 4 to 7 hours per pound for items like a large roast, 3 to 5 hours per pound for a small roast. A 1-inch thick steak takes 12 to 14 hours. Ground beef that's 1 inch thick takes 24 hours. Never thaw food on the counter or at room temperature. This allows for bacteria to grow on the food. For quick thawing, use the microwave oven according to manufacturer's directions, but cook the defrosted food immediately. It's best to use separate or clean cutting boards for each food type. It's equally important to wash utensils and plates with warm soapy water between contact with raw and cooked foods. When you marinate meat, seafood, or poultry, use a covered non-metallic container or a food-safe plastic bag and place it in the refrigerator. Do not reuse a marinade which has been in contact with those raw foods as a sauce without first bringing it to a boil for at least 1 minute. It may have picked up bacteria from the raw food. Avoid roasting meat in the oven at temperatures below 300 degrees. A meat thermometer is recommended for roasts, 2-inch thick steaks, and poultry to accurately check for a degree of doneness. Place it in the thickest portion of the meat, not touching the bone or fat. Another hint, the safest way to cook stuffing is separately from the bird. Also, when basting or applying a sauce, brush it only on the cooked surfaces. Just a couple words about leftovers. Follow the old adage, when in doubt, throw it out. Refrigerate leftovers immediately after the meal. Divide larger portions into smaller portions to cool more quickly. And as a rule, always reheat leftover sauces, marinades, and gravies to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute before serving. Today, America has one of the world's safest food supplies, but remember, you can ensure the safety of the food you serve your family by following these preventive measures. Next time your family eats food away from home, such as at a picnic, a barbecue, or from a bag lunch, you may want to take some quick steps to ensure your family's good health. The Food and Drug Administration estimates that each year, as many as 1 in 6 Americans falls victim to food poisoning, now referred to as foodborne illness. Bacteria is everywhere, on every surface that is not sterile. Even if bacteria were somehow eliminated on products we buy from the store, food could be contaminated again during handling or serving. Everyone knows that washing your hands with soap and water before, during, and after meals is the single most important precaution to take. But how can we be sure that others are doing the same? If your child attends daycare or preschool, make sure that workers frequently wash their hands. especially after changing diapers or wiping a runny nose or cleaning up after a cough. Watch to make sure that the providers and workers are teaching children when to wash hands, after using the toilet, before eating, and after a messy sneeze or cough. Food needs to be handled safely, and certainly anyone that is ill should not be handling food. Also, preparation areas and equipment need to be cleaned and sanitized. You know, responsible behavior is the key, and as parents, it's our job to see that our children are taken care of properly. Daycare centers must have written policies on food handling which comply with state and local regulations. Also, do your part. Immediately share information about any illness your child might have with those in charge, and teach your child to eat only foods he or she has brought or foods that are provided by the daycare or preschool. The next time you have a family outing, take some of these same preventive measures with you. Keep all perishable food refrigerated until it's time to leave. Using an insulated container, pack the most easy to spoil foods on the bottom with the ice or freezer pack on top. Remember, cold settles, heat rises. Pack the raw meat separately. Keep it cold until you're ready to use it, then cook it thoroughly. You may worry about taking mayonnaise-based salads on picnics. Ironically, foods made with commercial brands may be somewhat safer than similar foods without it, because the acid in the mayonnaise slows bacterial growth. Once you're there, it's a good idea to have moist towelettes available if there's no place to wash your hands. A tablecloth could also come in handy to provide a clean surface for serving and eating. One important note when you barbecue, do not use the remaining marinade as a sauce for the cooked foods. It could transfer bacteria. Check to make sure that all meat, poultry, and seafood is cooked properly. Burgers should not be pink in the center. Poultry and seafood juices should be clear. Never eat raw or undercooked meat, poultry, or seafood. Other things to consider are when you're at a restaurant with a buffet, check that the fresh food is not added to a serving dish or platter that is already sitting out. Hot foods should be served hot, and cold foods should be served cold. We hope these tips will help you and your family stay healthy when eating away from home. Kids love to snack between meals, so make sure they are eating something good for them. There are many healthy snacks made with fruit. Here are just a few using grapes. Skewer your favorite type of grape with cubes of cheese to make a delicious kebab. Or if you prefer, how about one made with your favorite vegetables? For a really delicious treat, mix half a cup of milk powder with half a cup of chunky peanut butter and mold it around each one of the grapes. For something extra special, cover them with cocoa. Fact is, many kids actually prefer fruit to chips and pretzels, so serving grapes is a sure way to get them eating something from the fruit group every day.
Okay, it's 3:15 and the carpool's late. Emily has to be at ballet by 3:30. Zach's basketball game begins at 4:15, and there's a PTA meeting at 8 o'clock. Oh, the dog still needs to be picked up from the vet, and you haven't even thought of what to make for dinner. To top it off, tomorrow is class photo day, and your kids need haircuts. If only the day was longer and there was more time to get them those haircuts. Time. What parent couldn't use more of it? There's always so much to do and so little time. Here's another way to accomplish one of life's necessities.
Today, in order to save time and perhaps even a little money, parents are learning a variety of new skills, from plumbing to peacemaking and even haircutting. That's right, I said haircutting. After all, by styling your family's hair at home, the hassle of making and getting to appointments can be eliminated. But where do you begin, and what will you look like when you're done? Well, we found a system that includes an assortment of guide combs to cut different lengths and styles. video instructions, and even a vacuum attachment to collect the hair as it's cut, eliminating the cleanup. Yes, it sounds easy, but can just anyone do this, and how much time can we really save? Today, our mom has decided to give it a try. Let's see how simple this home haircutting really is. She's read the instruction book from Wall Clipper and watched the video. It looks easy enough, but as they say, you never know until you try it. This is Jonas, and I'd say he needs a haircut. Okay, here she goes. First step is to snap on the cap and connect it to the vacuum. Then turn them on and we're off. This isn't so bad. In fact, it looks fun. How are you doing, Jonas? Good. Looking good. What do you think? Maybe just a tad more? Voila, we're done. That was easy. And I bet you already have some ideas about what to do with the extra time and money that you save. Okay, who's next? When your kids go off to play, you make sure that their laces are tied and that they have their mitt. But are you sure that they're properly nourished? Well, ask any sports nutrition expert, and I'm sure they'll agree it's important to drink plenty of fluids and to consume foods high in energy. Active kids lose fluids quickly and rarely know when they need to be replenished. After all, they're too busy playing. And thirst isn't an indicator, because by the time they become thirsty, they may have already lost important fluids. Water comprises about 60% of our body weight. Dehydration occurs when our bodies lose water and the body-water balance isn't maintained. And while perspiration is the way we keep our body temperature down, at the same time, sweat loss leads to a decrease in the volume of blood, resulting in added strain on the cardiovascular system. This makes it tougher for our bodies to maintain a safe internal temperature. A body dehydration level as little as 1% of body weight can cause lightheadedness, fatigue, and intolerance to heat. That's why drinking fluids before, during, and after sports activities is so important. But knowing what to drink is just as crucial. So be sure to teach your child what to look for. Caffeine is a diuretic and can increase fluid loss, and juices with an extremely high level of carbohydrates can cause digestion problems during playtime. A properly formulated sports drink like this one not only provides fluid replacement, but also the proper level of energy-enhancing carbohydrates needed for better performance. Absorbed from the small intestine 30% faster than water, it speeds needed fluids to all body parts, and its electrolyte content and good taste encourages your child to drink plenty of liquids. It's also important that children eat 3 meals a day and never skip breakfast. Foods eaten should be those that are high in carbohydrate energy and nutrients. That's because the body only stores a small amount of them. A high-energy diet should contain plenty of good carbohydrate foods and no more than 30% of calories from fat. Pretzels, fresh fruits, raisins, rice cakes, fig cookies and light microwave popcorn make good, low-fat, high-energy foods for snacking. Remembering these tips on sports nutrition the next time your children run out to play will help them to perform stronger and longer.
Sugar is a pure carbohydrate that occurs naturally in every fruit and vegetable, but mostly in sugarcane and sugar beet plants. Almost everybody loves the sweet taste, but there are still some misconceptions about it. Do you, for instance, blame sugar for your child's hyperactivity, or think the piece of chocolate cake he ate at the birthday party is the reason why he's bouncing off the walls? Well, you're not alone if you do. That's why we invited nutritionist Molly G. to join us and dispel some of the myths about sugar. Now let's join Tricia Lee and Molly.
Welcome, Molly, to Parenting in the 90s.
Thank you, Tricia.
We're very glad you could be here. So what exactly is the relationship between sugar and hyperactivity?
Actually, there's none at all, and really all attempts to show a relationship between sugar and hyperactivity have failed. One of the problems that still remains, though, if a child really has a clinical problem known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, then it can go undiagnosed.
Is it our imagination that kids seem so energetic or lively after they've eaten sugar or sweets?
Well, instead of taking a look at what's being eaten as the cause, I think it's also important to take a look at the when, the where, and the why. For example, if a family goes on vacation, certainly their diet changes, but so does their environment. And it's important not to worry if a child has a few too many sugary treats. Your body is a really fine-tuned piece of machinery, and it can handle the occasional variation. The key word to remember with sugar consumption is moderation, and not really to take a look at sugar as something evil or even label it as a bad food.
But what about parents being concerned with sugars promoting cavities?
Well, there was a time in which sugar was really looked at as the main culprit. But what we know now is that both starches and sugars can contribute to tooth decay. And if food really does stay in the mouth for too long a period of time, it can contribute to causing tooth decay. The most important thing is brushing your teeth regularly. And certainly with fluoride, good oral hygiene, and regular visits to the dentist, we can all have healthy teeth.
Molly, should we be concerned with the calorie content of sugar? Isn't it incredibly fattening?
Well, actually, at only 4 calories per gram, sugar and carbohydrates are much lower in calories than fat. Fat actually has 9 calories. And when you take a look at weight gain, it's probably more the fat in your food and the lack of exercise that are the causes. And as children really get into the age where they're concerned about how they look, it's important that they learn about variety, balance, and moderation in their diet.
Thank you for being here today, Molly. The next time your child craves sweets, remember the facts, not the myths. The key word is moderation.
No matter how much we know, there's always so much more to learn, and our goal on Parenting in the 90s is to be your guide. And remember, nobody said it would be easy.